This framework has been criticized for being too difficult to understand, so bear with me here. I'm also going to mispronounce the word cyanophene during this talk. Sorry about that. The framework says that there are four kinds of situations or problems. First is a simple one, where there is a very clear right answer, and the action to take is to follow a step by step process to solve it. Then there's a complicated situation. In this type of problem situation, there are multiple right answers. The action in this situation is to get more information or get an expert who has that extra information. A great example is a car engine being fixed by a mechanic. The third type of problem or situation is a complex one. So this is why humans are involved. So there's too many unpredictable elements interacting with each other. In these kind of situations, the framework says that the best action to take is small experimental steps, measure the results, and look for patterns. Software development is a great example of a complex problem. And finally, what I consider radical change is the chaotic situation. In this situation, you're just like, oh my God, what is going on? And it's a huge mess. There's no clear connection between cause and effect. According to the framework, the best action in chaotic is to first establish order in this chaos. So, four types of situations, right? Simple problems, action by following a set protocol. Complicated problems, action by getting more information or get the expert who has the information. Complex is action with experiments, measure the results and move towards a solution. And chaotic is the best action to take here is to steady the boat first. This really clicked for me and helped me understand why chaotic or radical type changes are so hard. My major learning from this is to be aware of my defaults. We all have a default action we take when faced with a problem or solution. Some of us default to research and deep thinking, which is best only in the complicated type of problem or a car engine type scenario. Some of us default to an experimental approach, which is best only in that software development type of scenario. So, what is your default? What I realized is that my default is experimental. During a crisis, I should be steadying the boat in a storm. I should not be experimenting with different solutions to solve the problem. First, establish order, reassure the team, and then experiment and look for solutions. This was my major learning from the framework. So, assess the situation type before taking action, steady the boat during chaos, and avoid your defaults during radical change. And yes, change is hard. This is why we tend to fall back on our defaults as leaders. But forcing yourself to assess and then react can make a world of a difference for you and your team. Change is harder when it's chaotic. You can't understand the reason behind it. Change is harder when it's sudden and unpredictable, like the weather. Change is harder when you want the one making the decision. It's outside your locus of control. For example, internal company changes are much easier when you report to the CEO. This is what I experienced in startups where I was always the head of design reporting to the CEO. In bigger companies, you may not have any idea why internal company changes are happening or even when. It's much harder when you are further down the line and changes are explained to you after the fact.